Welcome to the 10th edition of the Agents of Change interview series. Today I'm speaking with Kira Molloy, who is a Year 12 student at St Mary's Anglican Girls' School. While she's only 17 years of age, she has already achieved so much. She has already developed 2 apps which are now on the Google Play Store. Her first app, Vocabulary Voyagers, is made for Year 2 to Year 6 students to help them with their literacy. And in August, she's heading to Silicon Valley to pitch her idea to some companies as well as the University of San Francisco. So thanks for joining us, Kira.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So just to start off, it'd be great to hear just a bit of your background in how you first got into coding and developing apps.
Yeah, so I first started coding in Year 10, and that was because I chose the elective creating apps. And before this, I had no idea what coding was. I'd never coded before. I didn't really have an interest in it, and then through this elective I started to become more exposed to coding and what coding can do in the real world, and so I started learning it and I became passionate about it, and yeah, then I started learning through online tutorials and YouTube videos. So I started off with simple drag and drop code such as Scratch and Bitsbox, and then I discovered MIT App Inventor 2. And that's more, it's still drag and drop, but you can see how what you're doing is becoming a real life app, and then you can then put it on the Google Play Store.
That's awesome. And would you also just explain a bit about the Vocabulary Voyagers app and what it does and also why you made it?
Sure. So we decided to make this app in Year 10. And this was just after we'd done an app plan in Year 9, and some of our peers were doing the OLNAR test in Year 10. So what happens with OLNAR is if you don't pass it your whole way through high school, then you can't get your WAE certificate, and then you can't go to uni, and that really is hard because then your future is really...
You don't know exactly what you're going to do. Yeah, it has a big impact.
Yeah. So we started looking into literacy rates in Australia, and they were really confronting. And then we started looking at how children were studying for NAPLAN, and it was all textbooks and nothing fun, and the kids were really not enjoying studying. So we decided to use gamification to try to encourage the younger kids to want to start to improve their literacy rates before bad habits start to develop. So we have 4 games which each target a different section of the NAPLAN test. So we have spelling cannons, which is to try to encourage children to improve their spelling, and it offers a game once you spell a word correctly. We have punctuation pirates, so it's a multiplayer game. We have anytime reading, so we understand that parents sometimes struggle to find time to sit down with their children, and parents always live a busy life. So this allows children to visually hear the story as well as read the story themselves, and so they learn faster. And our last one is book playing. So all our games are pirate themed, of course, just to add a little fun spin on the whole.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome, especially because I think a lot of the future of apps and also learning is really gamifying them. So that's awesome that you've already done that. What were some of the challenges that you faced when you were first starting out, and how did you manage to overcome them?
So it was really hard to first see what it was like to work in technology, and of course how to code, because we hadn't had much exposure. And it was especially hard for us to see what it's like, because if you want to see what a doctor does, you go down to your local GP. If you want to see what a teacher does, you see them every day in your classroom. But it's really hard to see what women in technology does. And so also finding out how to code was quite hard. So, teaching myself wasn't exactly easy, and you started to learn from your mistakes quite fast. So I used to do a whole page of code and I wouldn't test it, and then I
wouldn't go so well.
Yeah, I'd get to the testing and you'd have a whole page of code to debug, which is quite fun.
Time. Yeah.
so I think it was quite hard, quite frustrating at times, but it's important to just keep going and push through that.
And what are some of the opportunities that have come from, making that first app in particular, for you?
Yeah, so first up we became WA finalists, and that was with a very basic app. And then through that we travelled to Brisbane and visited QUT, where we pitched our app, and that was the first experience we had of actually seeing what it's like to work in technology. So we were trying on like Google glasses, we were seeing 3D printers, we were talking to women who worked in the industry, and it was just very interesting. And then we went to Sydney and we went to Google, and that was very cool. I mean, that's everyone's dream to work at Google. You have like the sleeping pods, the chefs who cook every meal for you. It's very relaxed and
pretty innovative as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then since then we decided we have to keep on going, so we developed our app even more and made it more advanced, and then we became national winners. So
that's amazing.
So then this year we went to Sydney to celebrate International Women's Day, and we did a number of presentations there: Google, Avanade, HP and Vodafone, and I've just really had heaps of experiences which have really helped me to improve. For example, my public speaking ability. I used to be very shy and almost had a fear of public speaking, and now it's not just all about the app and how I've learned to code. It's also about my entrepreneurial skills, my ability to public speak now, and yeah, it's been really.
You learn a lot. I think, creating an app as well, you kind of think that, so I guess, in the process you were doing a lot of the coding, is that right?
Yeah.
But even, as you said, through that you learn so many other skills as well. How, if people are interested in following the app or even downloading it, what's the best way for them to follow your work?
Yeah, so you can follow us on Twitter. We have vocab_Voyagers, Instagram Vocabulary Voyagers, and Facebook Vocabulary Voyagers again. You can also download our app on the Google Play Store, and if you wanted to send us any questions, we have email accounts, so vocabularyvoyagersapp@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And I guess a question I really want to ask is, when you're developing this, I imagine it was pretty hard to balance it with school and, your studies in year 11 and now year 12. How did you manage to do that?
Well, I learnt pretty quickly that you must stay organised, you must stay on top of all of your work, and even, for example, next term going to Silicon Valley for a week, I'm missing 3 assessments and I have to start catching up on the work ahead of time. I've also learnt that all my time needs to be spent working efficiently so that I can actually get all the work done on the due dates.
And that's time management is something which I think a lot of people struggle with, but is really important.
Yeah.
I guess also in the process of creating the app, you won the 2016 Australian Technology Next Tech Girl Superhero Competition.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful for me, but could you explain what that meant for you and what opportunities it has given you this year?
Yeah, so to start off with, like I said before, we travelled to Sydney and we were involved with many International Women's Day events, and we also got to meet our mentor Sandy, who has been an absolute role model for us. And then as part of winning the national competition, we have sponsoring to go from Technology 1 to go to Silicon Valley next
That's amazing.
term. Yeah, next term for a week. And there we will pitch our app at the University of San Francisco. We will be representing Australia. We'll be part of the official Global Technovation tour, and we'll also be meeting the other teams from across the world. We'll also be touring all the large tech companies and meeting, I'm sure, many amazing people.
And what I guess has been kind of the biggest highlight for you through the whole process?
I think definitely meeting so many amazing people and having so many meaningful experiences. So just even pitching has been very challenging for me, but also very rewarding. Meeting so many women who are leading the way in technology and trying to encourage other girls and women, because technology is such a male-dominated industry and women are needed for innovation. So yeah, I think I've met many inspiring women in my experiences.
That's amazing. I think it's incredible that you achieved all this before you've even sat your exams for year 12. Like, that's definitely something. As part of, not only do you do all this app development, you're also highly involved with volunteering, and I know that you do a lot with Coder Dojo, which is a space where, young students can learn coding, and also with St. John Ambulance Cadets. So how have these experiences also shaped who you are?
Yeah, I think it's very important to get involved with the community, and sometimes through volunteering you become really grateful for what you have, and it also allows you to see other people's perspectives. For example, through St. John's, I've really become passionate about medicine, and through that I can see how people's problems could be solved with technology, and that's something that I would like to pursue in the future by combining medicine with technology. I also think it's very important to encourage the younger children to be involved with coding, because it's going to become so important in the future. It'll be involved in most jobs, if not all, and I think the earlier on that children begin to learn code, the more of an advantage there will be in the future.
And as a question for someone like me, for example, or a younger person that has no coding experience, where do you think is the best place to start?
Well, I think just giving it a go is a great place to start, because without giving it a go, you don't know what it's going to be like. And there's so many online resources that are out there. So, for example, I started with MIT, and that was a very, very good drag and drop program, especially for kids. So I ran a coding workshop in school holidays with over 20 girls at my school, and they really loved that program, and it was very inspiring to see how just simple drag and drop coding can become their own app, and they really love that. I think probably finding a mentor in coding is very important as well. So for me, we had our mentor at Abenar, and so I think getting involved with Coder Dojo, or there's so many competitions out there for children, and yeah, I think just if you have determination, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially for me. I'll definitely take that on. And what are your biggest goals, I guess, for the future, whether it's with the app or otherwise?
Yeah, so I plan to keep on developing apps, as well as starting my own business, perhaps teaching coding to younger children. I'm also planning to study at university, hopefully computer sciences, and something to do with medicine, and then hopefully perhaps starting my own business in developing apps or technologies that can help people
across both fields.
Yeah,
I think that's really amazing, and also really useful these days, because both of them are going to really cross over soon. Just a final question, what is your biggest advice for the young people watching this who are interested in coding or app development?
I think definitely give it a go, and it's quite hard to start sometimes, but once you do get started, you start to get the hang of it, and you start enjoying it, and you see the possibilities. So I think giving it a go is a great way to start.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No worries. And if you're watching this and you're interested to find out more about Vocabulary Voyagers, you can find them, as Kira said, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or by email. So definitely check it out. Thanks again.
Thank you.